Welcome back, heroes, to some more custom NPC scripting tutorials. So today I wanted to cover a subject which I saw in the comments section related to functions and also a way to get random numbers. So that way you can have all sorts of, like, I don't know, random elements to your code. On top of that, I also wanted to cover teleportation because I realized I haven't really covered that all that much, and I think I could cover it all in this episode. Now, there's still more that I could cover on terms of like the awarding XP because there's a lot you could do that I didn't realize, but I'll save that for another episode because I really want to cover more variants as it pertains to custom NPC scripting. So we got Lenny here, and we're going to use Lenny as a way to teleport around. That's pretty much what this script is going to accomplish, is teleportation, but we'll cover all the subjects within it. Now, for teleportation, what I usually have for Broly is some way to get a target. Now, the way I wanted him to work is every time he gets damaged, his target becomes whoever damaged him, so that way he ends up teleporting to that person. But we're going to do something different with Lenny. So with Lenny, what we'll do is when he obtains a target, he will use that as his target for teleportation. Well, I guess first we need to create said target variable, right? Set temp data target null. Okay, so this establishes if there was anything in target before, it is now null because we don't need it. But for now, we need to get a target once the NPC targets somebody. So what we do for that, of course, we get set temp data. Now, within the target event, you could get with the event object a thing called get target. Hang on, let's just do target. So what we could do is event.get target, and that's all you need. So what this does is as soon as the NPC targeted someone, within the event object, we could do get target to get whoever they're targeting. That should return a script entity, what was it? A script living base, which is the type of object that we need. That's pretty much what a player is and all those kind of things. So this is perfect. So as soon as the NPC targets somebody, there we go, we have a target. So now in the update, what we need is some way that we can actually use this target. So let's just go ahead and var target equals get temp data and target. So there we go. We have a person, we know who they are, and we don't have to worry about null or anything like that because NPCs will only target players or entities, but in this case, I believe they are not going to target other entities unless they have another faction, but we can worry about that later. For now, what we know is that it will target a player upon when it chooses to fight them, at which point we now have a target. So what are we going to do with this? One of the things is that with update, this happens every tick. So on a tick that we pretty much don't want to do anything unless the tick contains a target which he wants to do something with. So we need to essentially make sure the target is something. As you see, we instantiate it as null, which means there's no data. So what we could do is if target equals null, we know that there's no target at the moment, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, once we have a target, we need to establish whether or not we want to teleport. We don't necessarily want to teleport every tick, although you could create an NPC that does that. The thing is, it get a little spastic. You might want to play with that if you want to do it. If you wanted to, like, say, make an instant transmission NPC who just basically teleports constantly and then on the occasion attacks. But we don't necessarily want that for this guy. We want him every now and again to actually target the player. So what we're going to do is use a JavaScript type class called math. Now, if you look up in Google, math actually has a lot of things that it could do. The particular use we want is .random. Now, random will result in a number that is between 0 and 1 with every possible decimal in between. So if you multiply random by a number, what you essentially get is a number that ranges between 0 and that number. Usually it's like just below that number. So you kind of want to add +1, but in this instance, I want to use this as like a rough estimate. So what I want is if this is above, let's say 0.9. So it's not going to happen often. Math.random has to return a value that is equal. Well, let's do greater than or equal to 0.9. So this is not going to happen very often. Essentially, this will happen 10% of the time. I mean, I guess I could make that a little more clear by doing this. So since this is now less than or equal to 0.1, this will happen about 10% of the time he'll teleport. So there's a 10% chance he will teleport to the target. It's the gist of it, okay? Since math.random returns a number between 1 and 0, this is a number between 1 and 0, and it's very unlikely for this to happen. In fact, I could go npc.say teleport, just to kind of reiterate this process. All right, are you targeting me? I know he does. Oh, ow. Okay, so now he's targeting me. He's punching me. Stop it. So he should say teleport at some point. He has a 10% chance of it. Ow. Would you stop it, you joik? Oh, my bad. I forgot to do npc.get temp data. Whoops, that caused an error. All right, so I guess, oh, right, I'm still in survival. So as you can see, he said teleport. So on the occasion, he should say it again. Let's see, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? It's a 10% chance, so it's a very unlikely scenario that he does it, but it'll happen. Whoops, I just realized something. I said target equals null. This should be does not equals null. My bad. I don't want it to happen if target equals null. I want it to happen if target does not equal null. So now he has a target. Now he's actually, okay, now it's behaving correctly. So he has a target, and now he has the option of potentially teleporting, and he's kind of beating my face in, but that's fine. But you'll see in the bottom left, he occasionally will say teleport, which means that he's doing the teleport. All right, so let's go ahead and reset him, and go ahead and reset his script as well. Because the thing is, you need to reset his script if you're ever messing with it, because it's not going to reset itself. Just as a reminder. Okay, so what we have here is he has the instance of which he's going to actually do the teleport, but we could incorporate all the logic here. But why do that per se? Why not just put it in a function? So a function is essentially just like this, which I usually call the methods. There are technically functions. They are technically functions, but they're essentially like a thing that you call that does something and then will on the occasion return a value. So the random will return a value, as I mentioned before. So why don't we write our own function so we could save space and also organize how we have things. So in order to do a function, you have to, of course, start off with function, and then you have to call it something. Teleport. I usually start with a capital because it helps to like differentiate them or whatever. All right, so what we have here is we have a teleport. So we're gonna make this function teleport the character, the NPC that this is attached to a coordinate. So we'll give it an XYZ. So what this is on the inside is these are the parameters. I'm just trying to like organize it. Don't worry about it. The spaces aren't necessary. This is just kind of a formatting thing. So the function is basically like a method. So what I could do here is instead of npc.say, I could just say teleport. As I said before, these are the parameters that it's going to accept. So we need to put some data in here. So we'll go target.x, target.y, target.z. So the function teleport will receive the XYZ coordinate, and then we're gonna do something with it. So that's pretty much what functions do. It has a lot of uses. Like for instance, if I have this within a loop, I could use the function to prevent myself from having to type out a lot of code. within the loop, I could just put it over here. You could also use it if like you're gonna do the same set of code. Like if you find yourself writing the same set of code again and again, you could just put it in a function so you don't have to keep typing it out again. There's a lot of uses for functions. I'm just gonna cover the rudimentary basics, if you will. All right, so we have this teleport. What are we gonna do with it? So this is pretty much the main way to do a teleport is npc.setPosition, and then we have the XYZ. So there's not much to this function right now, but what will happen here is when he does the teleport, he will teleport next to me, as you'll see here. So there he's going. As you can see, he occasionally will just jump straight to me. And that's a very basic teleport. Oh, just stop it, buddy. Just stop it. I think he still has the script in there. Okay, so as you see, he now does the teleport. But I think we could make this a little more interesting. Since we're also covering random, why don't we make him teleport to a random position near where you are? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a new X and a new Y. So, or not new Y, new Z. So the goal here is when you do teleport, rather than teleporting directly to the location, we'll teleport to like an area close to the location. So what we'll do here is math.random. As you remember before, this is a number between 0 and 1, so let's multiply a value of 20. So now what we have is a value between 0 and 20, as opposed to a value between 0 and 1, because it's just multiplication. If I have 0.825670 or whatever, multiply that by 20, I get about 80% of what 20 is. It's just math. It's just math. Okay, so we'll make this a value, because I don't want to necessarily just make it a value between 1 to 20, because that would put it like in a particular zone. I kind of want to put it anywhere around the target. So rather than 1 to 20, let's make it -10 to 10. So we'll just subtract 10 from it. This might not be exact, but it doesn't really matter because we're just putting them around the area. If your math has to be precise, then, you know, make sure that it's precise. Just values here. All right, and then we add the value of X. So what this does is the math.random times 20 will get a value between 0 to 20. Then we subtract 10, so we have a value between -10 and 10. And then we add the current X value that we're passing. So now we have a value that is their current position anywhere between the -10 from it to 10 past it. And then we're going to do the same with the Z coordinate. So what this does is now, rather than just placing them right next to you, times 20 minus 10 plus Z. Rather than placing them right next to you, they get placed somewhere around you. So essentially, as they fight, they will just suddenly teleport, and then you have to find them again before they punch your face. Which I think that might make an interesting way to actually combat somebody one-on-one, because you can't just keep punching them, because they will at some point teleport away from you. So let's go ahead and see how that looks. All right, so we're punching him. It's like, oh, where'd he go? Oh, jeez. See, now he's like, he teleports around you. You don't know where he's gonna be. He could be somewhere further away from you, or he could be somewhere that's pretty close to you. Oh. And because it's also random, there's the times when he'll jump around a lot. If you wanted to control the randomness of it so that he's not necessarily jumping like at a very, very weird interval, you could do like an increment encounter, but I think I'll include that in a lesson at a later date. So what I want to do now is, you notice when he does the teleport, he doesn't make a noise. So let's add to this function a way for him to play a sound. So we got npc.execute command. As you recall, this allows you to execute commands, so you can do whatever command in here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, so that way it can be a little more legible what command I'm putting in. Now, if you recall, play sound will actually give you a sound. If you play any sound, as long as the sound is within like your resource pack or your mod, you can play whatever sound you want. which this will be very helpful because we want to be able to play the sound of the teleport. Now, oh, I copied the whole thing I had here. All right, so this is the sound of the teleport. So now what we got is, oh wait, I just realized I want to get rid of this because I want to add to it. You'll see what I mean in a second. So now what we have is they will execute the command play sound and the teleport sound, which also requires a player name. Now, you could probably expand this to actually play on everybody. Like if you make a function and then iterate through everybody on the server, you can make it play for all of them. But for now, we're just gonna make it play on the target. So when the target is fighting them, they will hear it. So get name. All right, and then we might as well go ahead and clean that up there. Okay, so what we have now is as he does the teleport, he'll actually make the sound. You know, what are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? Okay, I forgot a D on my git command. Scripting is very precise, just so you guys know. You gotta make sure you get everything perfect. No typos, none are allowed here. All right, so I changed up the script here. I think I just had some typos in here, but yeah, it's npc.execute command, play the sound file that I have here, plus target.getName. I'm pretty sure I just typoed somewhere, but this should work. All right, here we go. Now he's punching, and there he goes. He got the actual teleport sound now. Now, you notice that it does say it in the bottom left. There might be a better way to do that, but so far this is the main way I have found to do sounds. So there you go. So now we got a character who, as you're fighting him, will basically teleport somewhere next to you. A way you could also think of that is that they just dash really fast and try to get like in your face or around you or whatever. But overall, that makes for a much more interesting combat because you can't just keep punching them. They're going to teleport somewhere around you, and you gotta like quickly keep on your toes, and because you know they might get you. You gotta pay attention to that. All right, so that was teleportation. As I mentioned before, you could use the random variable as a way of controlling when he triggers. Another way that you could do it to guarantee that they don't like spam it really fast is you could do a counter, which what you do is you make the variable essentially something like this really quick. You just make it like a variable. So we got an npc.setTempData count 0. And then what you do is on the update, so we need to determine when he actually like uses it. So we get it here, which would be, let's see, var count equals npc.getTempData count. So now you have a counting variable, and then what you do is when this were to trigger, you would want to set count to something higher. So we go count equal, no wait, it's npc.setTempData count, and then we could go math.random times, let's say 50. And then what we could do is we could create a bottom by saying like 10. So what this means is this will happen once every 10 to 60 ticks. And then what we do is math.random, instead of doing the math.random check, we go if count is equal, less than or equal to 0, this happen, else we iterate count. So we put it down here, and then we go count minus minus, which that should take count and subtract 1 from it. So every tick, basically, if count is not equal to 0, then it will subtract itself. So every tick, it's basically ticking down, and it's a way to make it so that way you can have like some kind of bottom value. So now we know that it's going to happen at least every 10 ticks, but it can happen anywhere from 10 ticks to 60 ticks. So I just wanted to show that really quickly because I figured that might be useful for if you wanted to control how often something occurs. So that is it for today's lesson. We've covered functions, we covered random values, we've also covered a way of controlling said random values, and we also cover teleportation. Very simple, just setting position as a way of teleporting. So let me know in the comment section below what you would like me to cover next time. I think somewhere in the future I'm going to cover more advanced ways of doing the giving out of experience, because I feel like there's even more ways you can expand on that. But for now, I'm going to leave it and we're going to cover other aspects. I believe transformation is also something that we haven't covered, and I think we have enough information to cover how that's supposed to work. So I might do that next time. Let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.